So the time now is 11:38 p.m. on March 1st, 2023. My name is Charmaine Jones, and I am a citizen of the United States of America, but currently I am living in Tbilisi, Georgia. I've been living here since April of 2022. Since my arrival, I have had experiences with attacks from psychotronic weapons, also known as directed energy weapons. I have also had experiences with community and police predatory gang stalking. But today I want to share with you my experiences with electronic rape. Yes, that's exactly what I said, electronic rape. This started in May of 2022, but Tbilisi, Georgia is not where I first had my experiences with this kind of physical torture. Once I could recognize the signs and symptoms of this kind of physical torture, I quickly realized that this began in Kofu, Yamanashi, Japan in 2012, but probably well before that time. However, when I lived in Japan, it was really subtle. You know, they had me on a schedule. So no matter the day, time, or month, it would always happen at the same time. This way, it didn't feel like anything was off. It felt quite natural. However, when I left Japan and moved back in 2019, this is when I was made aware of the existence of directed energy weapons. Since I have been living in Tbilisi, Georgia, from the very first day, I had experiences with attacks from these energy weapons. But today I want to share with you in more detail my experiences with electronic rape brought on by these kinds of weapons. When this happens to me, there is a vibrating and pulsating, very intense sensation that happens throughout my genital area. And the reason why I know it's happening is that when I'm coming out of REM sleep and am fully awake, the people who are doing this allow it to continue because they want me to understand that I am being electronically raped. Also, when this happens, it happens in what I would describe as a 3-step procedure. But today I'm only going to talk about 2 of those steps. The other step involves dream manipulation. But soon after I experience these attacks to my genital area, when I go out into the community the next day or in the same week, they will send men or guys to approach me showing romantic interest. And they do this because they're trying to set up a sexual encounter. And if I should fall into that trap, that encounter would then later be used to humiliate me in some way. And they do this in many ways, but I'm just going to share with you 2 examples. So one way they can humiliate you is by having this person ghost you afterwards. Okay? And that means they will not contact you ever again, and they will not respond to any of your messages if you try to contact them. The second way they can do it is that they often send people into, let's say, restaurants where you're having a meal or a cup of coffee. So let's just say you decide to go into a cafe one day and just sit there and enjoy a cup of coffee while reading a book. They will send in two people or a group of people to sit next to you with the intention of having a conversation in earshot of you that details a play-by-play of what went on with you and that person in the bedroom in the privacy of your own apartment and home. This is what they call directed conversation. So the conversation that they're having is meant to seem as if they're talking about their own experiences, but in actuality, these experiences are mirroring exactly what happened with you and that person. So what they're trying to do in this case is they're trying to cause psychological trauma and humiliation, which often leads to suicide because they are very successful at psychologically traumatizing a lot of people. They know absolutely that I'm not engaging in any sexual activity with anyone because I know what the state of the world is today. And I know that if anyone shows attention towards me, it means that they intend to do physical and psychological harm. So I have cut that aspect out of my life altogether. Because they know this, they have amped up the aggressiveness and intensity of the attacks that I experience with directed energy weapons. And part of that includes electronically raping me with these weapons. And when they do this, they not only attack my genital area, they also attack my breast at the same time. So this is simulating a rape. And I know that it's not a natural occurrence. This is not something that's happening naturally. Because when I wake up, I have burns to my breast, pain in my stomach, and soreness to the genital area of my body. One of the reasons why they're doing this is that they're trying to force me out of this apartment. They're trying to make me homeless, to make me more vulnerable to predators. Another reason why they're doing this is that, they say rapists do this kind of thing to people because they love the feeling of power that it gives them, the feeling of control it gives them. And, they also do it because they're angry, which is also another form of control because you're doing something that they don't want you to do. They get angry with you about it. They intensify the attack so that you will stop. But these are not the only reasons. This has very much to do also with sexual sadism, because the people who are doing this are getting sexual gratification off of what they feel is my suffering and my pain. And I know this to be a fact because of how they attack me. When they are attacking my genital area and my breast all at the same time, they're getting off on it. It's bringing them sexual pleasure. Also, what's happening is to silence me, they get members of the police force involved. And this is not all of them, but this is definitely some of them. So when I go out, to do grocery shopping. No matter what time of day it is, no matter what day it is, police will show up. Or they're already out there waiting for me because they have, surveillance going on inside my apartment. So they know exactly when I'm leaving. So by the time I hit the curb, they're already there. And if they're not, they show up like a few minutes later. And often when I go to the supermarket or to the grocery store at about 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. at night, a police car will show up and it will speed past me in one direction, then turn around and come back speeding in the opposite direction. And that is definitely police predatory gang stalking and police intimidation to silence me. Then people in the community start to become, less pleasant. Not that they actually ever were pleasant, because the majority of them have always been unkind to me from the very first day. A few of them have been nice, but the majority of them are always unpleasant. And then the ones who are nice, that soon changes after a while. So everyone starts to become aggressive and unkind towards you, and just rude, just plain rude. So the community and the police are being used in order to silence you so that these people can electronically rape you and torture you to feed their sickness. Yep, absolutely. But what I'm saying is that I'm never going to be silent about this. See, they think that you will be, because the majority of people will never speak out against this. Because they do feel embarrassed. But why in the hell should I feel embarrassed? I haven't done anything wrong. You have. You should feel embarrassed. You should feel ashamed. In fact, you should go and jump off of a cliff. Because the only thing that you are offering the world is pain and suffering. That's it. And for those of you who think that this new establishment is bringing about peace in the world, think again. Because anyone who's really after peace do not use these methods in order to torture people. Peace has nothing to do with torture. So if you want to try to convince yourself of that, then go right ahead. But I'm not buying into it. I know differently. Peace is an expression of love and tolerance. This is a system that is after world domination, and it will do whatever it has to do in order to get it. Because I will not comply with the way that it wants to run things, it doesn't have any use for me. So it uses these methods against me in order to try to force me into suicide, or to force me into participating in the psychological and physical harm of other people, and I'm just not going to do it. That is not how I was brought up, and that is not how a lot of you were brought up either.